I was going to wait for my AC to shut off, but I don't think it's going to anytime soon, so I'm just gonna roll the cameras and we'll see if the noise is annoying or not. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute since I've uploaded. I think the last time we talked was when I talked about the books that I read at the end of January, and now it is the end of June. I just have been really struggling for my life to get any reading done. I think for the most part I just haven't really felt like it. I've just had a lot on the brain this year, and so like sitting down to try to read a book just hasn't really been the move for how I've been feeling this year. So audiobooks are really saving my life though. I think I've like 90% of the books that I've read this year were on Audible or on the Libby app. So that's pretty nice to have that, and so I can like do other things while I'm listening to a story. But yeah, I wanted to do like a little mid-year like reading check-in. I wanted to do the mid-year book freakout tag. I do enjoy doing that one, but I feel like I haven't read enough books to be able to like do the tag like good. Like I was going over the questions and I would either not have an answer or I would be repeating answers for a lot of them because I've only read like 10 books this year. So I'm not going to be doing the tag, so sad, but I'm still going to do like a little check-in and just, you know, let you guys know like how it's going. So the last time we talked, I had only read 3 books at that point, but now I'm at 11. So the first book that I'm going to be talking about is Unleashing Your Hero by Kevin Brown. I listened to this on Audible. I went to a work convention in January, like towards the end of January, and like they have one every year just for like networking stuff and like talking about like upcoming changes or ideas, whatever. And every year they have like a famous or like a professional speaker speak on one of the days, and this year they had Kevin D. Brown, I think is what he professionally goes by, but I really loved his presentation. After his presentation he let us know like, oh, I have a book out, and so I got the book and I read the book and it was really good, but it was basically his presentation from the convention. Like he literally just remembered his whole book and like recited his whole book to us like within an hour and a half, even though this book was like a 5-hour long audiobook. But yeah, I thought it was really good, super inspirational, motivational, uplifting, encouraging. He talked about like his life, like what it was like being a teenager. He had a really rough upbringing, and he talked a lot about like the people in his life who were his heroes, and they were just like everyday people who chose to just help people in any way that they could, even if it wasn't like something super groundbreaking. But he talks a lot about like yourself and how are you going to go out and be somebody's hero. And I really liked that because like I just feel like in a world today where like everybody is so focused on themselves and like what I want, like what can I do for myself, how do I feel, like how do people make me feel, how does this situation make me feel, like everything is about the self right now. And I think that we just need more compassion for other people, like taking the focus off of ourselves and putting it on other people. I think that just uplifting the people in your everyday life can really make a difference in how you feel just in general, and I think we just need more of that. Anyways, I really liked the book, and that was the only book that I read in February. I did start reading The Do-Over. I actually have it right here. I started reading The Do-Over by Lynn Painter, but I didn't finish it in February. So we're gonna come back to that. I also started reading Half His Age in February, but Didn't finish it. I only got like 40 pages in, as you can see, and I haven't picked it up since. I did try to make a little more progress in the couple of books that I was in the middle of in March, but I didn't end up finishing anything in March. Kind of depressing. And then April was like more of the same thing, like just trying to make a little bit more progress in the books that I was in the middle of. I think in April was when I started reading The Measure by Nikki Erlich, but I still haven't really made too much progress in that at this point. But in April was when I did read this super cute book, Paula the Koala by Alison Ware. This book is so adorable. It is a kid's book, okay? It's just about this little koala bear who goes to a summer camp, and she just like brings so much like light and inspiration to the other koala bears around her. And she just like makes this really big impact in a short amount of time. She's just like the sweetest little bear that there is. And this book was just so cute. And this was actually written by my cousin. My cousin wrote this book. It's so cute. I had no idea that she wanted to be like an author, but I saw her post on Facebook. I'm like, so I immediately bought it. And you can buy it on Amazon. It was like $11. It's also available on Kindle Unlimited if you really want to read it for free. But yeah, this book was super cute. I really like this, and if I got kids one day, they're definitely going to be reading this book. In May, I only read 2 books. I read A Pocket Full of Happiness by Richard E. Grant. This is a memoir, I think. He just wrote about his life with his wife, like how he met her, like where he was at in his life before she met her, and like during their relationship, like as they were growing together, and like where he is now. She did pass away like 5 years ago at this point, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he just wanted to talk about like how his relationship with her like affected his life in such a big and positive way. And yeah, I really enjoyed listening to his story. He is a pretty well-known actor. I've only seen him in 2 movies, but I enjoyed the 2 movies. So once I found out that he had a book, I really wanted to listen to it because he is European. So his accent is just like really satisfying to listen to. So, and then the next book that I read in May was Atomic Habits by James Clear. I didn't really care for this book. Like there was a lot of like good tips, like a lot of good things to think about, but I just didn't really like enjoy the tone of his writing. Like there was a lot of points where I just found myself like not really paying attention. And yeah, it was kind of a forgettable self-help book in my opinion. So only 2 stars. And then from this point on, I've had a really bad go with reading, like just a lot of 2-star ratings. I did read 4 books in June, which is the most that I've read in a month so far this year. First up is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I've had this book for 6 years, and I finally read it. I forgot what my review was that I wrote for this book. But again, this book was only 2 stars for me. Let's see, what did I write? I said that it was just kind of boring. I didn't really care about any of the characters. To be honest, I just couldn't wait for it to end. I only wanted to find out like who did it and why, which that part was pretty interesting, but it wasn't surprising really. I did listen to the audiobook for this book, and I don't think I would have finished it if I didn't have the audiobook. There are way more entertaining whodunit thrillers than this book. So I will be unhauling this one. The next book that I read is kind of like the same story as The Guest List. I read A Talent for Murder by Peter Swanson. I didn't know until I was like halfway through the book that this is the 3rd book in a series but it's interconnected. It's not like you don't have to read the first two to read the third one, but they are connected. So some of the characters in the third book are from the first two, and you could get minor spoilers of the first two, but I didn't really mind it. And honestly, I didn't really like the book enough to want to go read the first two. There were a lot of elements of the book and like parts of the story that I enjoyed, but for the most part, everything was just like too easy and too convenient, and that's what made it boring. So 2 stars for that one. And we are back to The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I also gave this one 2 stars. Honestly, I probably should have just DNF'd this book because I spent 2 months trying to finish it. The audiobook saved my life on this book. I think I read probably this much of it before I ended up just switching to the audiobook. It was just way too juvenile for me. I did hear a lot of like positive reviews about this book before I read it. A lot of people said that like even though it is YA, it's very readable for like older adults, but I just didn't really feel that. It was too juvenile for me. The main character was pretty annoying in my opinion. There were like some moments, like little scenes throughout the book that I did like, but overall this book was just too high school for me. So yeah, 2 stars unfortunately. And I probably should have just DNF'd this book because 2 months to try to finish a book that I didn't even like that's so depressing. So the most recent book that I've read, which I finished this about a week ago, is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. I've owned this book for 7 years and I finally read it on my Kindle. So this book is controversial. It has controversial subject matter. The back of the book reads that love knows no boundaries. It is a beautiful and provocative love story between 2 unlikely people and the hard-won relationship that elevates them above the Midwestern meth lab backdrop of their lives. All the Ugly and Wonderful Things challenges us all we know and believe about the human heart. This book is about a relationship between a girl who is probably 10 years younger than the guy. It might be like 12 years, like 12, 13 years. So yeah, not something that you could just like read and enjoy for that fact only. And I definitely don't enjoy it for that part. Like I did have to suspend my belief to read this book. I kind of had to like set that part aside just for now. But it was a really good book. This book was really good. I binged it. I don't really know like how to talk about this book just because of what it's about, but it was hard to read because again, meth lab backdrop of their lives. So that's already a tough thing to read about, but then you add the age gap on top of it. This book is not going to be for everybody and it does cross some lines, but this is something that can happen in real life, and so we just have to have like an open mind and have some compassion for the people that this does happen to. Like this kind of thing that happens in this book, it does happen to some people, like getting raised by parents who don't take care of you, getting raised by drug addicts, like what it's like to have parents who are addicted to drugs, they're abusive to you and to each other. Like you're probably not going to turn out very mentally stable if that's how your childhood is. I think the love story was also told with respect, which I did appreciate. It's going to be hard for a lot of people to see this story as beautiful because of the relationship age gap and just kind of how their relationship came about and like the things that happen throughout their relationship. But yeah, this book, it was really good, super emotional, can be pretty triggering. I can leave the triggers in the description if you would like me to. I probably should. I probably will. But definitely look into the trigger warnings before trying to read this book, just in case. Yeah, I only gave it 4 stars. I think it's because I didn't cry and I wanted to, so I took a star off because I didn't cry. But yeah, I really love this book, and I can't believe that I waited 7 years to read it. So those were all of the books that I've read since my last video. I would like to check in with some of the goals that I made at the beginning of the year. This is my TBR for the year, and I've only read 1 book so far off of this list. I did start reading The Measure, but like I only read like 100 pages and I just haven't really thought about it since then. So maybe I should just like DNF it for now and then come back to it maybe a little bit later. As for how many books that I've read 11 out of 25. There's only 24 squares, but my goal is 25. But I've read 11 out of 25 so far, so I'm not like in a bad place at this point in the year, but I did think that I was going to be farther along than I am right now. And then for reading 1 book per month, the only month that I didn't read or complete a book was in March. Reading off of my physical TBR, I didn't do for February or March, but I think I'm doing pretty good on it otherwise. And then I've only read a book on my Kindle once this year. I have tried to read multiple books on my Kindle, but I didn't get very far on them, and I ended up just like sending it back to Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, it's just reading on my Kindle hasn't really been a thing this year. And then I've only listened to 2 audiobooks on Audible this year. Actually, I've read 3, but 2 of them were in the same month. And then I have like my bonus goals, like things that I'm not really going to be like tracking necessarily. But buying less books, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. Actually, I'm doing very well. I've only bought 9 books up until this point. And last year I hauled probably like 40-50 books. I did say that I wanted to try to use the library. Like I wanted to go to the library a couple times a month at least, and I haven't stepped foot in it at all so far. So I really need to think about that soon. And then I also said that I wanted to read a classic, which is kind of laughable because just I'm never in the mood for a classic. So I don't know. I don't really know what I was thinking. Trying to get my physical TBR down to 70% is so specific. That's so funny. I think it was because I did the math at the beginning of the year, and like of all of the books that I own, like 88% of them are unread, which is insanity. And I wanted to get the number down. I was going to calculate it for this video, but I forgot until right now. I'm not too bothered about it though, because since I haven't read too many books, I don't really think the number has changed very much. And I did unhaul a couple of the books that I have read, and so the number probably hasn't really changed at all, to be honest. And then my last goal was that I wanted to buddy read a book with somebody, and I think the only people that I could do a buddy read with are my mom and my sister's girlfriend, but they're both kind of like in the same place as me right now where we just don't really feel like reading. So that one might have to come later in the year. Oh, I also wanted to do the buzzword challenge. If you know about that buzzword challenge, you read a book each month to like complete the challenge for the year. Haven't done any of them. I even wrote on here, every year I'm so bad at trying to do this challenge. I usually only get like 3 or 4, and then I don't even try for the rest of the year. This year will be different, I said. Guess who hasn't read anything for this challenge so far? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I have DNF'd a couple books so far this year, and I think I already talked about them in my last video. I would like to talk about some reading plans that I have. I'm not gonna like talk about it too long though, because this video is probably gonna be like 30 years long. And I don't really have that many plans anyways. I started reading The Last Love Note by Emma Gray. I'm reading it on my Kindle. This is about a woman named Kate who lost her husband like 2 years ago, and she hasn't really fully processed her grief until she gets stranded on a beach because she went on a business trip to the beach and the plane left without her, / she missed her flight. But yeah, is she gonna be able to find love ever again, or is she just going to be stuck in her unprocessed grief? That's what this book is about. I've had this book for like 3 years at this point, and it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, you know what? Let me just read it. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I should probably try to make more progress in half his age. We'll see how that goes. Next time I talk to you, if I didn't complete it, then I'm probably not going to this year. Summertime, I feel like, is the time to read like all the fun, cute romance novels, which I have quite a few. Like this whole top row is just romance that I need to read still. And so I'm gonna try to do that this year. I would like to read a lot of my thrillers that I have. If I could just listen to them on audio, then that would be really great. I don't know. Right now, I feel like I'm in the mood to read books that I've owned for like 5 years plus. Like the books that I bought last year, not even thinking about them, because I'm like, I have all these books from like 5-6 years ago that I still need to read. So like, let's do those first. I also, for some reason, think that I want to read Stephen King. One of the YouTube girls that I watch, she just read It by Stephen King, and she did like a mini vlog about it. And like ever since, I just think that I'm gonna read a 1,000-page book. So yeah, I have It by Stephen King. This is my brother's book. I don't like how small and chunky this is, but I also don't really want to go buy the full size and carry that around. So it's gonna be this, or maybe read it on my phone through the library. I don't know, we'll have to see. Everybody knows what this book is about. Look at how small the words are. But yeah, I love the movie and the remake of the movie. So I'm already like halfway there with knowing what goes on in this book. That should help me out a little bit. But yeah, apparently I think I'm gonna read this. Even if I don't read it this year, apparently I think I'm gonna read it. And then same goes for Needful Things, which is this big. I have wanted to read this for a long time. Like I talked about it in one of my early videos when I was starting out on my channel. But this book is about like this store called Needful Things, where it doesn't matter who you are, you walk in the store and there's gonna be something in there that you want. There's something for everybody. But you don't pay for this thing with money. You pay for it by doing something, like a task, or I don't know, you just unconventional way of paying for stuff. Basically, the store owner just wants to see like how much people will pay, like what will they do, like what length will they go to get this thing that they want. And then lastly, I have Gerald's Game. There is a Netflix movie of this book that I do want to watch after I read this, but basically this couple goes on a retreat, probably trying to rekindle their marriage or something, and he has like a heart attack right after he cuffs her to the bedpost, and now she's trapped with no neighbors within miles to hear her screaming for help. And like, how long can somebody survive without food and water? That's what this book is about. So, and it's a short one compared to the other ones. So I'd probably start with this one first. And then lastly, Summerween is coming up in like 2 weeks, I think. Or like it starts next weekend. The day that I'm filming this, it starts in 1 week. I usually want to participate in Summerween but don't get to, and so I'm hoping to be able to participate at least a little bit this year. It's a readathon hosted by Gabby Reads. She wants to bring the fun of Halloween into the summertime to start, you know, getting hype, because fall is only 2 months away at this point. Actually, like 3. We still have to get through July and August and most of September. But yeah, I only have 1 book on my TBR for that readathon because I'm not sure like how much time I'm gonna be able to have. But she does prompts for the readathon. I think she has 5, and I think that my 1 book accomplishes all 5. And it also kind of goes along with the theme just a little bit, I think. The theme, because she does a theme every year. I think last year was like outer space. This year is like carnival, like summer fair type of thing. And so the book that I'm gonna try to read is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and the balloons is what connected me to the theme of the readathon this year. But I can read this book in the dark. There's pink on the cover, which is one of the prompts. It's a horror / thriller. It fits into one of those categories. I forget what the other prompts are, to be honest, but I think that this fits all of them, if I'm correct. But basically this is about a girl in high school. You know, she's just trying to navigate her teenage years and like try to fit in, try to be popular. And then her and her friend go off and like hang out and get into some things that they're not supposed to be getting into, and then they come back a little different. She comes back a little different. I've tried to read this book twice already since I've had it, and both times I just wasn't really invested, but I really want to be invested because look at how fun this cover is. It's 80s vibe. Like it looks like a VHS tape cover. Like, this is perfect for Summerween. I mean, it even says this book packs all of the magic of a summer horror flick. Like, I can't not read this during Summerween. And I can't not enjoy it during Summerween. So, I hope that the 3rd time's a charm, and I hope that I enjoy this book even at least a little bit, because I've been hanging on to this for so many years, just like waiting and hoping that I will finish it one day and enjoy it. So we'll see. That is the end of this video. I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. How is your reading year going? Like, are you accomplishing your goals? Are you reading some good books? Do you have a lot of 2-star ratings like I do? Or are you having a lot of 5 stars? I think I only have 2 5 stars so far. But yeah, I hope you're having a good year so far. I hope you're enjoying your reading. I hope to see you soon with another video, but I'm not too sure how that's gonna go. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.